uh, the meeting's being recorded and we'll take attendance. Jack Gardner.
Yeah.
Merle McCluskey,
Here.
Michael Corzart,
Here.
and Andrew's gone, so we have a quorum. Would anyone like to make a motion to approve the agenda?
I moved.
Second,
I second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, great. All right. I'd like to approve the minutes for July 8th, August 12th, March 10th, and April 12th. Anyone like to make a motion?
So moved.
All in
Second.
favor?
Aye.
Okay, ayes have it, approved. And first item is security update with Officer Mack.
Okay, guys, I'm happy to report that barring any unseen circumstances with interviews, we'll have a full group of CSOs this summer. And some of them are on Mid-Island Bike, which might help you guys out. And they'll definitely be in town. So that's a good thing. They're great eyes and ears. And they have the police radio with them. So if anything's going on, they can immediately report it, which is really good because we haven't had them in a long time, a couple of years now. And Tom, you mentioned cameras. So webcams are good for surveillance. You can just log on quick and see what's going on. I recommend those, but also if we can do it, security cameras that can play back are also just as important. The webcams are good to monitor day and night, but the security cameras are good to capture anything that happens so that we can have evidence to charge criminally if we can identify these people that do anything that are there. Rebecca's cameras last summer were huge with that. We had a couple of pretty serious things happen that we were able to use her cameras and play back and identify and charge. So that's one of the things I wanted to bring up. Also, as we go forward with the construction and everything, and then maybe add to some of the other places, signage is very important. You lay out the ground rules. You also want to have it notice that there's audio and video monitoring. That's always a huge deterrent if it's on a sign. They have to be rugged and durable and maintained and highly visible so that whenever somebody goes into our areas that they know that they're being watched and they know what the rules are for that particular park. For example, if you had a webcam at Tom Nevers and you see that Sunday routine that always goes on out there, it gets a little out of control, then maybe you can call one of us over to deter it or prevent it from getting any worse. Like they'll start with the baseball game, but then end up with a huge drinking party at the pavilion there in the bathroom area there. So if it's monitored, we can handle it rather than get a complaint when it's too late. And again, lay out the ground rules on the signs, no alcohol, no this, no that, whatever it is, have them durable and visible. That's pretty much all I have. No updates on any issues. We've had no calls for any problems at any of the parks so far.
And Wendy? Okay.
Okay, so I appreciate that, and I think you're on point on all of your comments. Whether we go with the webcam or the cameras or both, it sounds like maybe both would be a good idea depending on how much money is available. But my concern is, particularly at Tom Nevers, is that as you alluded to, people seem to have a pretty good time out there on Sundays, which is fine, but as with most cases, it's always a small group that ruin things for everybody else. And the combination of users out of Tom Nevers, from adults to children, and when you throw the irresponsible behavior in of people imbibing too much or whatever we're doing, that compels them to start doing donuts in their cars and their trucks in that open area down there, to the point where you can see the dust some distance away. And then there are still kids, as you know, from the layout, playing in the children's area. And then you have the dirt bikes going over the mound, and then turning around on a softball field. It gets a little chaotic, as you can imagine. And trust me, I'm not against people enjoying their Sunday evenings, but when it gets to the point where you may have somebody get run over, or get, a teenager gets seriously hurt on his dirt bike, we have to be worried about that or concerned about it. So I think the signage is important. The sooner we can get signage up, the better. Hopefully, maybe certainly by the 4th of July, but sooner if we can. And make a decision on whether we're going to go with the webcams and/or cameras as soon as we can, and what the budget is for that, so that we can make a recommendation. The commission, Parks Commission, can make a recommendation to the town to spend the money on this. So, and just in terms of, again, as you alluded to, Officer Mack, police presence is important. If you can do a couple of drive-throughs on Saturday and Sunday afternoons, particularly Sunday afternoons, say from 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock at night, when the sun goes down, 8 o'clock at night, whatever it is. I think a presence would be helpful. But yeah, I don't disagree with any of the observations you make. And I don't know, Maureen, can we someone make a motion to get a budget for all of those items if there isn't one in place already? But I think we need to recommend to the select board that they allocate money to get these things done. I don't know if it's already in the budget, or does anyone know?
I believe that would go back to Charlie. He's working out of a DPW budget right now, and he'll get his own in another fiscal year, so in almost 13 months.
Okay, so there's no,
For the next year, he'll have really limited funds, is how
Okay.
I understood it.
all right, so yeah, Officer Mack, if you can think about how often you can get somebody out there, particularly on Sunday afternoons in a later, I mean, on Sunday afternoons, you may have 100 people out there, and it's only 5 or 6 that ruin it for everybody, and they pretty much, it's really unfortunate. It's not a big group that misuses the place.
Yeah, we've gotten so many complaints over the past few years that we've now recognized that that's one of the things we're going to have to do at that time of day on the weekends.
Yeah,
It all started with the drag racing on Tom Nevers Road. And then we figured out where it was coming from. They were all gathering there and drinking and vaping and smoking weed and getting in the cars and drag racing. So we've recognized it, and it's pretty much part of the shifts, afternoon and evening, weekend duties.
yeah, somebody got killed out there in a car accident,
Yep.
didn't they? Right?
Yep.
Young
They
man?
did. They going too fast, coming back from that, and took the corner, and it was a fatal motor vehicle accident as a result.
And yeah, so yeah, there's a lot of activity with the cars and the dirt bikes. And not that I have anything against dirt bikes, but when you have kids running in and out of that play area, actuarially something's going to happen.
And don't, also the people that go down to use the beach and come up to use the bathroom as well.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
okay, so I appreciate the effort And if we'll just wait for a budget number, if whatever the budget number is for that, I imagine it's gonna be six figures, something like this isn't cheap, so.
Oh, one other thing, I learned the other day that there is I never knew this, but the yacht club has a camera that zooms right into Children's Beach area. I didn't realize that. It's a high-tech camera that if you can't get cameras there this summer, at least you have that. And
Yeah.
they were having problems with kids coming over from Children's Beach into their parking lot and causing problems. So they set that up, and that's a good thing to remember if you need that as a resource.
The other thing is, the cameras, as you know, are very high tech today, and on the signage, we would say something to the effect that you're under video surveillance with facial recognition.
You can put anything you want on the sign.
Yeah. Yeah, that way, they'll say, I understand there's cameras today that they can upload into software the pictures, and they can find you on they can find you anywhere on social media within seconds, so. And I think everybody knows that, so that would be a big deterrent right there. It's unfortunate that you have to put cameras in parks, but, when you have people getting killed, it's really no choice but to do it.
Yep.
All right, anyone have any questions of Officer Mack? All right, thank you, Officer.
Thank
Hey,
you.
guys, thank you.
And your involvement's very important, as I say every week, it's critical.
No problem. Appreciate it.
All right. All right, next on the agenda is Visitor Services Coordinator David, Children's Beach.
Hey, good afternoon. I wanted to let you all know that we've got a great summer lined up at the Children's Beach Bandstand, starting June 19th and running through August 14th. We're gonna have Sunday night concerts starting at 6 o'clock. Also, we're going to have our weekly puppet show from late June to mid-August, the Nan Puppets on Saturdays at 10 o'clock in the morning. And of course, the morning yoga is going to be on the bandstand from 7:30 to 8:30, Monday through Saturday. And Marjorie Trott is going to do her pop-up creative movement. We're going to coordinate with her about when she'll be there. So we'll have signage for that. We're going to have signage in the sign box soon, posting all the activities that we're going to be doing there. And I know we've already been over July 4th, but we're fine tuning that with the activities in the morning on Monday morning, July 4th. From 10 to 12, we're going to have the Mat Fee Tea Toss Cornhole Tournament. We're going to have a table with Nisha information, and also the games like the tug of war and the wheelbarrow race, the three-legged race are going to be over on the side of the lawn that's closest to the beach. And there's also going to be a bike parade around 11 o'clock. So everything's going as planned so far, and I just wanted to let you guys know what was happening. So I'd be happy to entertain any questions.
Thank you very much. Does anyone have anything to add or questions? Sounds like a great summer coming up.
Thank you.
Go ahead, anyone?
David, have you had many people calling in to ask about activities? Like, is there a lot of interest, say from people who are coming for the summer to see what's going to be going on, or hasn't that really started yet?
That really hasn't started yet, Maureen, but we're can't offer everything, but this is what we can do so far. And I'm, pretty happy with the schedule, and we're doing our best.
And when did you say you were gonna put that information up? Beginning of June down at Children's Beach in the
Yeah,
box?
probably next week. I'll have some
Okay.
posted in the sign box there.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. And
Okay,
oh,
anybody
by the
else?
way,
Go ahead, go ahead.
that info is already on our webpage under the Children's Beach tab too, so you can find it there.
Just because I get calls at town administration, so I'll let them know where I can direct them. Thank you.
All right. Charlie, you're up.
Alrighty. Let's see. The spring fertilizer program I wanted to place a few weeks back, thanks to Tom Hatton Landscape. Irrigation systems at Aldi, at Nobodeer, Delta, and Tom Nevers softball are up and running, and all repair has been made. We did find a break, pretty major break in the main line at Nobodeer Field that looks like it was from a crush pipe at the original install. And finally, after all this time, the PVC just let go, but that's been repaired, up and running. The Tom Nevers baseball field well controller looks like it might be fried. I had a meeting out there today with a well company. So we're going to work on getting that replaced, and fingers crossed that the actual well pump itself does not need replacement. The weekly maintenance has been ongoing now for a couple weeks. It's J. Michael Landscaping. If you're out and around, you might see them on the fields. I believe they've got a white truck and a big black trailer that says J. Michael on the side. So far, it looks like they've been doing a great job. We perform soil tests on the field for upcoming fertilizer applications. I'm awaiting those results from the UMass lab, and that will dictate how we go forward with our fertilizer program. All the youth sports are well underway. I had a conversation with Nantucket Little League about, they were curious about getting possibly a food truck out at Delta Fields. And so I'm starting to talk with Amy Baxter and what we might need to do to license that. In the past, they've run their little concession stand out of the Delta Field little house there, but due to some of the regulations and the cost of getting it through the health board and all the hoops they have to jump through just to try to sell, ice cream and bags of chips and stuff like that, they kind of felt it wasn't worth the hassle, and they were interested in if we could, having a food truck stop by to be able to do hot dogs, hamburgers, and stuff like that to service the big crowds that can be there on the weekends when you got both softball or baseball and lacrosse. So I thought that was a pretty good idea, and we're gonna work on that. The next couple of weeks, we'll have the DPW crew out prepping the softball fields for the adult softball leagues, which will be starting in about a month. Again, the landscape company is taking care of the grass part, but the DPW is going to go and clean up the infields. So I've met with Karen McGonigal from Town IT, and we've been discussing about getting Wi-Fi out to all of our field spots, which will actually then tie into our ability to get either webcams or a bigger monitored security system out at all of our fields, and also allow us to post that we have we'll have a secure line for our security stuff, but then they'll also be able to put a hotspot out, which could be good for some places. Tom Nevers, depending on what you have for a cell company, can be a tough spot to have service. That'd be nice to be able to have right around the bathroom areas there an open Wi-Fi hotspot. Let's see, the Nobodeer Field House is progressing very well. They're on course to be 95 to 97% finished by the end of June. They've had some delays with the large doors coming in. They're back ordered till September, so those openings have been temporarily filled, so that they will pull off that site. They're thinking end of June, and then come back to reinstall the doors in September, and then we'll take final delivery of that building. Winter Park over off of Essex, we did a bunch of work with the help of the DPW and the ops team. We refilled the infill, which is this specialized wood fiber product, and we brought in almost 8 inches of it. I think it was something like 180 yards of material. They worked for a couple of days of spreading around to bring that up back into nice shape. And then we brush cut the area along the front of Essex Road to kind of open and expose the parking area to the public to kind of deter any of the little bad behaviors that have been going on in there. And we're going to work on some changing up some signage to try to stop people from parking vehicles in there all day when they're not actively using the park, because it is kind of a hot spot for younger families in the neighborhood to be able to go and spend their time, and to have somebody abandoning a vehicle there because they don't have room in their own park, you know, in their own house, just doesn't work for me. Let's see, jetties. Unfortunately, we haven't had any luck filling the tennis court, you know, the tennis court recreational coordinator or coordinator assistant positions down there. And it looks like for this year, we'll probably move forward with an open tennis plan. Having the courts be a first come, first serve. We're going to upgrade the signage with some new, you know, rules of the courts, that sort of thing. And we'll have a weekly calendar posted down there blocking out the times for anybody who has scheduled times on the court, such as the Murray camp, which goes in on like Wednesdays for a few hours with their kids and block things out. And then we're going to coordinate with the DPW ops team on going down first thing in the morning and running the blower around to clear all the shells and everything off of the court. And then we're going to supply, we're ordering extra brooms and stuff so people can kind of clear things as they need to. But as I understand, during the day, typically when people are there and playing, there's an issue with the seagulls coming in and using it to open shells. It's more or less in the evening when everybody kind of takes off, and then all of a sudden there's this big, nice area to go and open up their meals. Lastly, the master plan stuff is progressing very well with Weston and Sampson. It's a very big, involved project, and we're doing a lot of kind of tweaking as we go. And hopefully at the next meeting, we'll have some really good renderings to bring forward to the commission. That all kind of ties in with, you know, there's going to be some redesign work at Tom Nevers, different from what was in the original proposal. There's this all kind of ties in with the Tom Nevers, like the multi-use path, basically a new bike path. It'll be running from Milestone Road all the way down Tom Nevers. Is being incorporated in that. So hopefully there's a lot of stuff in the works. Looking forward to it. Any questions?
Well, I just want to say the fields look terrific, Charlie. You know, it's, I don't think I've seen them better. You know, thank you very much for that. And you made it a very immediate impact. So it's a welcome sight to see the fields in the shape they are. Just hopefully the irrigation systems hold up this summer. And it sounds like you got that under control as well.
Yeah, one of the things that I'm hoping to do, and this will be probably a big budget thing for upcoming, is once we can get Wi-Fi into these locations, I'd like to shift our irrigation controllers into a Wi-Fi and centralized system that will allow us to monitor them from, you know, essentially anywhere. So whoever our irrigation company is, you know, can be watching them. I can be watching them from my office and be making, you know, adjustments daily, almost if we needed to, you know, at a minimal expense.
So do you have the head count you need? Do you have the people you would need, the full-time equivalents, to make sure that the standards are kept up between whether they're a town of Nantucket employee or outsourced vendor, or someone like the landscaping, you know, body wise, are there enough people in place?
I think we're looking pretty good for this year, you know, because we do have the fields contracted out. And I'll be looking forward, you know, I'll be starting probably in the next few weeks, you know, certainly once we hit July 1st, as to building out the Parks and Rec budget as to what that will look like, as for, you know, for more full-time staff, for equipment we'll need. And we'll be looking at a pretty good cost analysis as to whether or not in the future we would continue to bid out the field maintenance, or if it's something that we think we would be able to hire enough people within the town to take it on ourselves and acquire the equipment to do so. Like anything else, the biggest problem we're facing all across the the island is housing and space. So it's a matter of if we can get, you know, some housing and some people here, or people who want to come and work for maybe the Parks and Rec department, because maybe it's still a little more enticing than, say, just the, you know, the DPW. We might get some people to apply. So we'll, you know, as we move forward, we've got a 3-year contract with J. Michael Landscaping for the fields that kind of buys us some time to build out what, you know, we think the Parks and Rec should look like.
That's good. So you're way ahead of the curve. That's good news. I just have one other question about Weston and Sampson. Are they coordinating their work with the consultant the high school has hired to do their planning? Are they working together?
Not really. It's very, they're very 2 separate projects, and we're kind of proceeding independently now. We've had a couple of conversations with the school, and they're a little on their heels from all the stuff they've been dealing with. So we're going to kind of progress as our project, and probably when we're ready to bring what we have together, then we're going to bring in the school and, you know, show them what our thoughts are.
So they obviously, as in the past, the school is going to need to use Novardiats to some extent, right? I would imagine. I would foresee, we had already talked at one point this year about the school before they kind of tabled their field project and split that off from their tennis court and baseball stuff. They had asked if we would be able to host their field hockey program for them. This year they won't be needing that, as they've kind of halted those projects. But we are progressing that, like, at some point they will come back to us if they start their construction project, that they may need our help in hosting in some form. Yeah, and I, for one, would be help them any way we can, because it's all the same kids, right? Yep. My question was more directed towards the heavy turf use sports like soccer and football and, field hockey and lacrosse, whatever the case might be. And, just to make sure that the kids are covered and they can practice appropriately. Yeah, one of my big goals is to kind of make sure that, our turf is up to that quality, for high school and athletic play, whether they need it or not. Our fields at Nobody need a little work. So I'll be looking, to certainly budget over there, consider a lot of money to get those top dressed. When I went out and did the soil test, there's a significant compaction difference between Delta, which is a much older, more established field, and over at Nobody. For anyone who doesn't know how you do a soil test, you basically have this called an inch wide pipe with kind of a sharpened end, and you basically push it down into the ground and pull out a core sample. And with the same, using the same pressure that I did both places, when I was over at Delta Fields, I was pulling out 6 to 8 inch cores, whereas over Nobody they were more 4 to 5 inch. So, hopefully we'll see what exactly the soil tests bring back to us, and we're going to push forward and amend as long as we're still allowed to use fertilizer on the island, I guess. Yeah. All right. Well, I, for one, I'm looking forward to the Weston Sampson update. Does anyone have any questions or comments? All right. So next meeting, we're going to have, is Weston Sampson going to come to the meeting, or how's that going to work? Yeah, we'll probably have them in on the Zoom. Okay, great. Well, thank you very much, Charlie. It's a great relief to have somebody in place. And I think Maureen had her hand up there.
I just had a question. How long does it take to get the soil samples back from UMass? Any idea?
I mailed them out earlier this week. I had to wait like a couple weeks to get the PO to clear. Finances got a lot going on. And so that got sent out. So I'm hoping you get a turnaround in a week, and they'll
that's fast.
Email me the result usually.
They're pretty fast about it.
Yeah, I think it depends on how many students they have in the lab. I now realize when I went to UMass, and I was, I had soil lab, and we did all these sorts of testing and generated these results. And if you have a big class, that everyone's working on these things, and you can kind of crank them out. So I'll happily just distribute those results when we get them in. And I
Okay.
had them do the whole gamut. So we're going to get our fertilizer
Everything.
recommendations. They're going to analyze our organic matter, our nitrate levels. Basically, signed up for every test they could give us to just let us know what's going on.
Thank you.
Okay, again, thank you very much, Charlie. So the next is the event permitting, discuss the applications.
And Marina is not here this weekend or today. So she had included the Dreamland information in your packet, just so everybody could read what they have going on this summer, not as extensive as it was last year. So we do not have to vote on that. It sounds like a fun project, the skate jam, which is being sponsored by the film festival. They were going to do a demonstration and have, I think, 2 Olympians there who were going to interact with the kids. And it's a short window on a Saturday afternoon. So, and they expected, I think, about 250 people to attend. And that information is also in your packet. Lastly, the field day at Children's Beach, that just came in on Monday. And it's a new event and it's sort of soon. Marina had asked us to vote on that. And she is working closely with, her name is Sarah, who is proposing this for the church, just to have a old-fashioned field day down at the beach. There were some things that they were proposing to do that Marina had backed off on. They wanted to have a bouncy castle down on Children's Beach, which was a no-go. They have to have permission from the concessionaires about any food service. So they still have a few things to iron out, but Marina is working closely with them. It's a free event. And
Which church did you say she was involved with?
The First
she-
Congregational.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's the Ladies Union Circle group, I guess is what they're called.
Right.
From the First Congregational Church.
And it's from 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock.
What day, Maureen?
It's Saturday, June 12th.
Okay.
Do you have any objection, or should I put them in contact with you, David?
No, we're free and clear at that afternoon. It's
Great.
nothing's occurring yet on our.
The
Sort of
12th is
before.
a Sunday.
Yeah, 12th Sunday.
June 12th is a Sunday.
Okay,
Okay.
then, yeah, we don't start until the 19th with the concerts.
Okay.
Is it going to be on the Saturday, the 11th, or Sunday? the 12th?
You know what? It's the 12th. She
Yeah,
has the
Sunday the
12th.
12th.
Down, around back.
So she gone again?
You said from 1 to 3.
Show on with the dog?
Yeah.
Good.
Yes, 1 to 3. I had to pull up the right permit here, or the application. They expect
So-
about 50 people. They're going to have a staff of 12 to help monitor and facilitate it. They were going to have pie eating contests, 3-legged race, balloon toss, and the bake sale items are to be determined. I think you may also have to have the health department involved if you go that route. So Marina was going to discourage that part.
can I make a suggestion on that whole thing? I mean, whatever Marina suggests, we should go with. I don't know if you need a vote tonight or how you want to handle this. She's not here.
A vote tonight because our next scheduled meeting would be June, I think it's the 9th.
Janet?
They indicated what their goals are for this event. Why are they doing it? Because I'm a member of the council at the Congregational Church, and this is the first I heard about one of our
Like I s-
committees doing something.
Like I
Yeah.
said, this came in on Monday, I think, maybe Tuesday.
Yeah.
I'm just reading through the permit quickly here, Janet.
Yeah, I can read you what was written in the original email if you're interested. It just said, "Hi, my name is Sarah. I'm part of the Ladies Union Circle group at the First Congregational Church. We'll be hosting a field day on Sunday, June 12th from 1 to 3 p.m. and are in need of space. Are you able to assist me with this? Are any of the parks a possibility? Ideally, we were thinking Children's Beach. All welcome to this small event. We will be offering field day games, bouncy house, bake sale, which are obviously bouncy house is certainly next. Bake sale is up for debate. Instead, we will be asking for donations and selling baked goods if we are allowed. Thank you very much," was how it originally came through.
No real
could get-
explanation.
It could get killed at our church council meeting next week. We'll see.
Already.
If you want to see the application, Janet, it's in the packet that's posted on the website, just so you have the black and white version,
Thank you.
and I can email it to you. But yes, Tom, if somebody could make a motion to move forward with this in accordance to Marina's and church council's recommendations.
Would somebody like to make that motion?
Well, ours will be independent of yours. You can approve it tonight, and we might
Right.
decide that it's not a good use of time for members of our short-staffed church.
I would make that motion and then we'll have it on the books and the Congregational Church will notify us later.
Second that motion.
All in
Thank you.
favor? Aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Okay. Ladies Union Circle.
That's what we just finished up.
Okay, I didn't know it was the name of it. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
So what, is that it? That's everything?
game day at Children's Beach.
Okay, skate jam. Okay, went out, sorry.
Yeah,
Skate, who's gonna present on that? What's the situation with that?
Maureen that was the film festival.
mhm. That was the film festival doing the afternoon skate over at the skateboard park with the Olympians.
Okay. So did we cover everything?
In record time.
Okay, I just have one question about Dreamland. I was looking at that contract. So we don't have to vote on that tonight? Why is that in front of us?
Just because you had asked about it or somebody had asked about it.
I did,
and
yeah, I did.
And so Marina just sent it over to me and I thought everybody would have the submission from the Dreamland and see what they put down on their application for the town and what the town expects of the Dreamland to do in order to use the property, as far as they're in charge of the bathrooms, what their hours are, what their dates are, how many people are allowed. It's all in the application.
Now, do they charge people to come to the theater, the
Mhm.
movies? And does the town get any of that money?
Yes, I believe they do. I don't know.
Okay.
They pay a lot. They pay an initial fee. I can't remember. I talked about this months ago with Amy because there was some discussion about it moving forward as to whether moving forward now that we're kind of post pandemic when
COVID.
this all started, post COVID, if this is going to go out to an RFP for the property. They expect Dreamland will be the only one to probably put something in for it. But they're still trying to figure out how this is going to move forward. So I know they do pay, I think, a license fee, a public
$500.
assembly fee, and then a live entertainment permit.
Okay, because I looked at the contract and it seems like it's a pretty big event. I mean, there's a lot of cars there, there's a lot of
Thank
in
you.
and out. Hey,
Thanks.
Maureen, I'm sorry.
No, thank you, Mike.
Yeah, it looks like, how many nights a week, just curious, are they down there doing this? Is it once a summer, twice a summer? How often does it happen?
A lot.
I think they're the Dreamland requests the operator to drive in up to 5 nights per week. Obviously, that's
nights per
yeah, 5 nights. I believe it's, would it be Wednesday through Sunday or something like that? I believe is what they were looking for. Obviously, it's subject to weather. If it rains, they cancel. And then it's they've got posted in their request different hours. So from June 14th to August 31st, staff will be on site at 7 p.m., which would be after, and they're also not allowed, they're restricted to their setup. Like they can be there, but they can't really start setting up or open the lot until all of our activities are finished. But then the lot opens at 8 p.m. to the public. Movie starts at 8:30 from September, the month of September. The lot would open at 7:30, movies to start at 8, and then for the first week of October, the staff would arrive at 6. The lot would open at 6:30, and movies would start at 7.
Well, I got to tell you, I'm a little surprised, but as long as it's out of our purview, I guess it's out of our purview, but 5 nights a week. I mean, I'm looking at the sketch, there's a lot of traffic going in and out. Plus you have people leaving from our activities and then coming in. It's a lot of traffic, and whether we like it or not, there's risk when you move that kind of people around. And it's
Yeah,
kind of odd to have a movie theater in the middle of our premier athletic facility, but I know, I don't know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I don't believe there's anything different that they've asked
We
for
have a
this year.
drive-in movie theater in the middle of our sports complex. That's unusual.
This is the same that they've done in the last two summers, right?
Yeah, there's no, I think it's actually a reduction in days that they're asking for. I believe in the past they were granted, they had asked for 7 nights a week, so they're down to 5 for this coming season.
All right, well, I guess somebody can deal with it other than us, but I think it's unusual to have a drive-in movie theater in the middle of our sports complex. And I'd be interested to know what they're charging and where the money's going.
I know, I think it's like 30 per car. It's charged per car entry.
Yep.
The terms of the license are $500 license fee. The public assembly is 500 and the live entertainment is 100.
So, the switchover is like at dusk. In other words, if there are people out there having leisurely use of the fields, how does that work operationally?
They use the main parking area
Yeah, I know
for
that.
the
Yeah.
theater, but then like when I've been there to pick up my son, the turnaround or the like the turnaround part, we can
Yeah.
park there and the kids are still on the soccer fields. There's no lights on the field, so occasionally we'll put our headlights onto the field, but that's extreme cases.
So this is a year-to-year application? I mean, it looks like every year they have to come forward.
Yes.
Now,
That's how it's been running so far. Yeah.
yeah, so I looked at that's a very permanent fixture they have down there. Between the screen and the projection area. All of that stuff is very permanently fixed. There's nothing temporary about it.
I believe I was talking with Tall Paul about this. Paul works for the Dreamland. My father was on the board of the Dreamland, was the chair of the Dreamland board when this all kind of started. And it is built to be quote unquote removed if it has to be. There's concrete pillars in the ground. and then everything's kind of bolted to that. It would be it wouldn't be a quick and an easy exit if they had to take it down, but it is quote unquote designed to be removed.
Well, I took a look at it when I was down there, and trust me, that is not temporary. There's nothing temporary about it. And the projection area, did they get a, was that approved by zoning to build that, all of that, the zoning, that go through zoning?
I'm sure, I mean, there's all the permitting and everything for that all happened 2 years ago. I would
yeah.
assume everything's
Three.
been or 3 years
What's that?
ago.
Yeah, that was over 3 years ago.
No, the reason I'm drilling down into this is it affects, A, the current operation of the place, and it impacts our programming, but more important, if, at some point, that area may be used for something other than parking. For example, that whole area may be transformed into a field, and then the parking moved forward, because that's some of the ideas we've been kicking around. But now we have a full-blown, I mean, I looked at the sketch. It's a full-blown drive-in movie theater. And they're showing movies 5 nights a week, which is fine. If that's what people want to do, they can do it. If that's what the town wants, that's what the town should have. But it affects any plan, whether it's a master plan or otherwise, for the use of that area. And those things were built to be permanent. They weren't built to be temporary. There's nothing temporary about that screen. And there's nothing temporary about the projection area.
Well, the projection shed is literally a 10 by 10 shed that's sitting on top of concrete blocks.
I know that. I looked at it. The screen is absolute, that screen is as permanent as any drive-in movie theater I've ever seen. And that's fine. If that's what we have, that's what we have, but we have to understand that to do our planning around it. Because we'll never be able to put a field there. And I think the original master plan called for that, or some use of that, or partial use. But now that we have now that we can't use the light, we're not going to be able to put in any more. We have to assume we're not going to be able to put any more artificial turf in. So that area becomes more important, because in the master plan that was in there as a parking lot, but it was predicated on there being artificial turf, which we do not have anymore. And now there's talk about the other thing, and I'll drop it after this. I just want to get this on the table. The select board has been dropping comments about putting in an indoor facility, which I think is terrific. I think we all agree that's needed. And that parking area would be an ideal place for it. And move the parking up front. But you can't do it if you have a drive-in theater there, which it is. Do they sell cotton candy down there by any chance?
No, they do no concessions.
No concessions?
Nope.
So people bring their food in the car and eat it?
Yep.
And is there any cases where there's food, papers on the ground the next day? Is it absolutely clean the next day?
Yeah, they do a very good job of containing and removing their own waste.
Yep.
Okay, well, it's got to be taken into consideration with the master plan. You can't.
In the current drafts we're working on, that is still a parking lot.
Okay, so the theater is permanent. I'd like to have that confirmed, because otherwise we'll be talking around it. In the master plan, put a drive-in movie theater in the middle of the Nobadir facility. I mean, you're talking about how many, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40 viewings, July and August. Have a good night. Call you tomorrow. So that theater's got to be in the master plan, in my opinion.
I was just taking a look to see how that is laid out. I'll look up some HDC.
There's a whole bunch of issues
Minutes.
around having a movie theater in the middle of your sports facility. There's got to be. I'm not,
Right, but at the time, it was an option to also, for the Dreamland, to continue having some type of a movie provided during COVID because they couldn't do it at the theater. So
No,
it was
I'm not, I
a
mean,
really
I
viable
understand that.
option that
Yeah, yeah.
maintained the theater for 2 seasons.
No, I understand that, but we're getting, I mean, we can't have an artificial, they're telling us we can't have artificial turf. Now we have a drive-in movie theater in the middle of the complex. And I just want to, you know, I have, for my own personal curiosity, I want to understand whether it's permanent or temporary. That's all I'm asking. I apologize for my tone. I just got to.
I mean, it's in this to like they're year to year with their lease, and for the bulk of their movie times is in our summer. And I'm just looking at what I have kind of on the schedule here. I don't have anything very much that's scheduled past 5 p.m. for field usage. Anything that's officially come through for use of the fields.
Okay, I think I made my point. I don't want to dwell on it. All
I'll
right.
look
does
into it.
Yeah, I think we have to discuss it and understand it. I mean, after 5 p.m., somebody might want to go down there after a hard day's work and kick the soccer ball around.
But they're not,
And they may,
they're still allowed to do that because they can park in the circle and go to the fields. The fields are not part of the movie.
no, that's fine. I just want to understand what we're gonna, if it's temporary, whether that screen will cost a lot of money to take out. I mean, that's dug in.
But that's up
So-
to the Dreamland.
That's correct. So we have to understand whether they want to be permanent or temporary. And we'll proceed from there. That's all I'm saying.
Okay,
That's all I'm saying. We have to understand the nature of it. And I don't have an understanding of it. Not that it's important that I do, but we don't. Because it's going to affect the master plan. Not just at Tom Nevers, but not just at Novadear, but it's going to have a ripple effect. And if we have to deal with it, we have to deal with it, and we'll deal with it. That's all.
I think
People
you
want to
should
have a
probably,
drive-in theater, they're going to have a drive-in theater.
I think you should probably have someone from the Dreamland present when you have that discussion.
I
For what
couldn't
their
agree
plans are.
more. They should absolutely be present.
Because it was a stopgap measure during the pandemic and successful, but now that they're cutting back, and I suspect that the staffing issues were going to limit it moving forward after the summer.
I believe that's why they were down to 5 days this year, and after this year, I believe this will be going out as it'll be a very different look for their contract for next year. It's not going to
All right.
automatically continue. It will be something that if the town even decides to do it again, will be put out to a public bid, and if somebody comes in and it's not the Dreamland may decide that they're going to take their screen and run, and it maybe we at that point look at a different at a different facility or a different location for it.
And we'll be happy, from my perspective, we should accommodate them in any way until the town decides one way or the other how they want to handle it, so.
Yeah, we could always put in going forward too that, as we develop our master plan and say, okay, we're happy to accommodate this here for the next 5 years, but at that point, we're going to need this, for construction staging or something like that. We can certainly have the ability to flex that.
Yeah, because, in my own mind, I think that's the ideal location for an indoor facility and move the parking all up front, but that's a long discussion. All right, well, Maureen, does anyone have anything else? We can make a motion to adjourn and whatever people want to do. Any comments? Anyone like to
Oh,
make a motion? Go ahead, Maureen, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Oh, no, I was thinking, you have just a quorum right now. That's what I was thinking.
Okay. Would anyone like to make a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second,
Meryl?
Second that.
all in favor?
Yes.
Well, thank you, everybody. And Charlie, again, you did a great job with it. Your immediate impact.
Oh, hopefully we'll keep heading in the right direction.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Thank you,